All right, ladies and gentlemen, really quick, I just want to tell you about one of our fantastic sponsors, and that is Soldier Girl Coffee Company. So if you are watching the video, you can definitely check out the screen share here. I am on our website, and you can go to affiliates, or this will be changing to sponsors soon, and click on Soldier Girl Coffee. As it says on the website, Soldier Girl Coffee is a veteran-owned company. They definitely provide the absolute best coffee I've ever had. It definitely has the pick-me-up that I need in the morning. If we check out her website, of course, down in the right-hand corner, you can definitely chat with her. You can get exclusive discounts she offers to our listeners just by putting your email address in the box on the website. As you can see right here, she has French vanilla cream, 100% Colombian, snickerdoodle Hawaiian hazelnut, and she offers regular as well as CBD infused coffee. So be sure to go and check out her website. Of course, you can get there by going to our website at businessandbrewshow.com/soldier-girl-coffee, or you can just click the link in the show notes and it'll take you right here. You click on view products and it takes you over to shop around. She even has a little bit of merch. I know when I ordered my bag of Colombian roast, I really enjoy Colombian roast, and she has the best Colombian roast that I have ever had. And of course is a veteran-owned business, but I got a sticker as well as a thank you note. So I really enjoyed that. So now I have my very own Soldier Girl coffee mug that I can drink my Soldier Girl coffee out of. So once again, right now, exclusive discounts just for our listeners. Everybody drinks coffee, whether you're a veteran or a business owner. You're going to need it. You're going to need it for your staff. You're going to need it for your break room. You're going to need it for your house. So go ahead right now, click the link in the description, in the show notes, right here, right now, and go get some Soldier Girl coffee today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited and absolutely have to tell you about a phenomenal way to build your website and keep it up to date. My name is Ryan Smelts, host of the Business and Brew Show and co-host of Veteran Talk Show. And if you are watching this, I want you to pay close attention to my screen share. This is the website of the Business and Brew Show. And the way I am talking about keeping your website, building it, getting it up to date, and having it managed is by Online Rob. So Rob is absolutely phenomenal. And what I absolutely love about this is he was able to customize the website exactly how I asked him. So as you can see, the homepage has a ton of different pictures from different episodes. Of course, here on the episodes page, you're able to listen on your favorite platform, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio Public, iHeartRadio, or Castbox. You can connect with us, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Listen to the 5 most recent episodes right here on the website. And of course, you can find our sponsors such as Soldier Girl Coffee and, of course, Online Rob. So the best thing about this is, as you can see on my screen, if you're watching, Online Rob is a veteran-owned small business. He will design, build, and manage the entire website for you. That comes with free unlimited updates, a domain name, your business email, and a logo if you need it. All included for our listeners is only $2.99 per year. As it says right on the screen, there are absolutely no contracts and no hidden fees. I handed this to him. He had it back within a very short amount of time. And anytime I need an update or have a question, he is there to help out. So I strongly encourage you, once again, for our listeners, you can go to businessandbrewshow.com/online-rob, or you can click on the link in the show notes. If you are not watching the video version, the link is definitely in the show notes. Be sure to check out our website. I'm super happy with his work. I'm really excited that I no longer have to figure out where to get an SSL, how to install it. I don't have to install the pixel for my Facebook ads. I don't have to manage any of the analytical tools such as Google Analytics, and I don't have to figure out how to connect the domain or set up a business email. He handles all of that for me for the low price of $2.99 per year. So once again, for our listeners, Online Rob offering this exclusive deal. Be sure to go check it out. Make sure when you fill out the form, you put that you heard about him from us in the How Did You Hear About Us box. Business and Brews Show or Veterans Talk Show. Of course, you can always use my name, Ryan Smelts. And no longer as a business owner will you have to build and manage your own website. Have Online Rob do it for you. Take advantage of this exclusive deal, only $2.99 per year. Best of all, he can handle everything from, of course, a podcast to an e-commerce site. No matter what kind of business you run, Online Rob can handle it for you. So go right now, click on the link, fill out the form, take advantage of this exclusive offer, and be sure to put the show name in his How Did You Hear About Us box. Now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome to the Business and Brews podcast, where our mission is to highlight local businesses and shed light on different industries.
He's a former comedian, so he's like on the show a lot. I'm booking a bunch of like local comedians.
So there's some water if you want. These are the 2 I drove.
Oh, sweet. It's a pretty comfortable couch, so I mean, makes sense.
May or may not need that for the leg. Yeah, but I don't like hauling all the equipment around. Yeah. And nobody cares. The people that show up to be on the show are there just to be on the show.
Yeah, they don't care.
And
to them, they're like, "Oh my god, look at this sweet mic setup," and you're like, "This is the worst." But
yeah, like I said, that right there, I think was $30, and I actually bought that one because that guy recommended it. Because I was like, I just need a microphone for my computer.
Yeah,
I said every time I record anything, it's got clicking in the background, and I was still putting out episodes because I'm not going to not put out content.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was better audio quality to hold my phone like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need a microphone. But it came with all that. And I'm like, I mean, I don't need the pop guard. I kind of don't need the tripod, but I guess it comes in handy because it just sits on the
I mean, it comes with
desk
it, so
there.
a lot of them come with that tripod.
$30.
Yeah. I bought
all right,
2 arm ones that fully come out, like stand up like this and have like the thing, so you just can sit there and talk to it.
Yeah.
Cyber Monday, they're like $40 each.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine sold me his like channel converter. Was plugging into that, plugging the computer, keep it moving.
Yeah, I kind of wish I knew more about audio engineering.
Yeah.
So I was able to split channels because like I have a Mackie MX12.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff Smith used to work for UNC TV. Now he works somewhere else, but I emailed him and was like, hey, I have audio questions. And he connected me with one of his audio engineers or producers or somebody. And he just sent me a list. He was like, this is what you want. This is what you don't want. Look at the difference between 1/4 inch and XLR. So I looked into it. So I got the exact board he recommended. Microphones, I pretty much just kept what I had.
Mm-hmm.
But running it all into the computer through a USB cord, I end up with a single audio channel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to know how to split it off because then I can edit independent audio. And
that's annoying.
I feel like the only way to do it is to record independent channels, like on different. I don't know how to split the channels going into a computer. I have no idea.
I finish the episode and I go, okay, JD, do this. And during the episode, because we'll talk about stuff to do while we're talking in the episode. And I'll be like, yeah, so just edit this part out and do this. And then he's like, okay, so I edit this part out too, but edit that part out too. He's like, all right. So we finished like a 2-hour long episode and he condenses it down to like an hour and 15 minutes of just taking all the bullshit we talked about out. And then he edits like video and stuff sometimes.
That's crazy. I do barely any editing. Like we're rolling now. I'm gonna get set up, like do a little intro.
Yeah. And
then the format, like sometimes I get specific if I know about the industry. Sometimes I stay more general. And then I introduce you, have you tell us who you are, what you do, and then we talk. And then at the end, when it's winding down, I ask 4 standard questions. And then the last one, the 4 questions are, what are you currently reading? What do you like to do for fun? If you could have a beer with anybody, who would it be and why? And where do people find you? Most important question.
Okay, cool.
But that's pretty much our format. And I'm probably not going to. We did the same thing last night after I hit record, and I'm probably not going to chop the beginning off of that because me and him talked about some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very fair. Plus, I really don't like editing.
It's not fun. I used to when I first started doing podcasts, I just recorded straight through Anchor and there was no like editing.
Yeah.
So if someone said something, it'd be like, sorry, that's going to be in there, bud. So I hope you don't want to run for counselor or chancellor or whatever anytime soon. That's not getting taken out.
You said chancellor.
I don't know, government priorities. Senator Palpatine, whatever you have to be to grow up. Yeah. I've also realized with guests and stuff, there's more conversation that happens before you start recording. Oh. So they'd be like, we'll have like a whole conversation. And I'm like, okay, let's get in and record. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, that's I'm like, great. Should go back in time.
I was actually going to hit it before you walked in because I was like, that'd be cool to have the footage.
Yeah.
But I forgot to hit it before I got up and answered the door. But I got some of me and Justin one time. He runs an appliance business down there, and we stood up and walked past the camera and then turned around. And then I still haven't set it up as B-roll, like do an intro or something like that for it.
There's still so much stuff I need to do with all my stuff, and it's ridiculous. I'm trying to take on more people, and like I have another guy that works with me. He does overnight for QDR, and he's like, "Oh, I used to have a podcast. He did all this. I know how to do all this audio stuff." I'm like, "Great, let's work together. Can't pay you, but let's work together." So he's down with like 2 audio people. There's a girl I'm trying to bring on to do my production, like find us topics. Chicks nowadays know what to talk about, so we'll joke about it and probably upset you. And then I'm gonna try to bring on other people that want to do podcasts, but like bring it in under mine, like a Barstool Sports type thing.
Yeah.
And then have them do their thing and like sell ad space for them and all that.
Yeah.
Then
Well, if there's ever anything I can do to help, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
I just
I
just kind of,
so I appreciate it.
yeah.
This is free publicity, so I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think I had on one guy. Oh, it was so long ago. It was when Gavin, my co-host, was still helping us out, and we were up in Wake Forest, and he had done comedy in New York, but he now runs like a web marketing branding business with his wife. So yeah, I think he had like gigs and formal training, and I think he might have even done it full time up there. But he was like, part of it was when he came down here, he lost all the contacts and everything he had from being up north. And then they made a joke about taking me to an open mic night for my birthday and getting me drunk. And I was like, I'm not really afraid to be in front of a microphone. I just feel like if somebody tried to make me do stand up, it would be like, you think you're funny, but now you're talking and nobody's laughing.
One thing I noticed, whenever I tell someone to do comedy, they act like I'm a veteran. They're like, "You're so brave for doing that." Like, I could never do that. I would never do that. But you're brave. I'm like, thank you. It's not that great, but I appreciate it.
You're welcome for my service.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? It's my pleasure. I appreciate doing it. I'm glad I got to go up there and do it. Really be in the trenches of Good Nights Comedy Club and make these jokes for you.
Yeah.
You probably didn't laugh at it to begin with.
So, I mean, I'll fake an intro real quick.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Business and Brews show. I guess we have decided to either start recording earlier or just not chop off the beginning. So you're probably just going to have to grin and bear. We'd love to hear what you have to say about it. This is Hunter. Hunter and I have been friends for a pretty long time now. And he... I don't really know what he does. So, Hunter, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Hunter. I also don't know what I do. My parents don't either, so they're disappointed. I do stand-up comedy. I do podcasting. Don't Tell My Mom podcast. And then I'm working on building a whole platform for that, like Barstool Sports or whatever. I just want to get paid to eat pizza and watch football. So
yeah.
Go to our Patreon.
So the name of the podcast is Don't Tell My Mom.
Yeah, it's called Don't Tell My Mom. And there's like 15 other podcasts that are called Don't Tell My Mother, Don't Tell My Mom on Me, Don't Tell My Mama, Don't Tell My Mommy. So it's Don't Tell My Mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So has anyone told your mom?
She didn't know how to use podcasts. So.
Okay.
No, but my pastor found out. It's not been great. It's not been good. But so far, she's just like, I heard that you said this. And I'm like, I probably said it. I literally, once I turn off the microphone and like go watch TV, I always am like, I wouldn't say anything bad on there. I don't remember what I said half the time. I'm also drinking half the time too. So. Yeah.
That's
just like
that. Yeah.
Drinking
This is supposed to be Business and Brews. That's a little bit of a crossover. Sometimes it's beer, sometimes it's coffee. Apparently right now it's water. And that's lemonade, but
I hope.
Yeah, but I guess I've just been slacking lately.
That's all right.
So we'll get over it. So you do stand up comedy. You and I met doing sales, but
yeah.
I mean, I feel like it started before that, because I think when I met you, you had open mic night or something like that at that, like way back. So when did you get into comedy? Like, at what point were you like, I need to go embarrass myself in front of people?
I think I've done it for 6 years now. I've been on and off, especially with COVID and also just not being funny. I think the first time I ever did anything was that thing at Charlie Goodnight's.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was you that was at the store with me or I can't remember his name. I think it was David. I literally just signed up and I was like, all right, so I'm gonna do stand up on Friday. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, have you ever done it before? No, but I've been wanting to do it. So it wasn't even an open mic. I did a North Carolina's Funniest competition, which you just pay them $25 and see if you're funny. Didn't make it past the first round, but that was a while ago. So I've been doing pretty decently so far. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
So that was your debut.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was going on, but I missed it. I either had a second job or something was going on.
Probably.
But then I got to see you with Ryan
Cunningham. Yeah.
Cunningham.
Yeah. And Blake McKinney.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys did a whole thing over. So how did you like get introduced to those guys, and what did that look like?
So I was doing some open mics like around Durham and stuff. And there was a guy there named Rob, and he was recording the sets. And I was like, hey, I didn't record my set. Do you mind like sending it to me? He's like, oh, I didn't record your set. And I was like, okay, cool. He's like, but if you want me to, I can start doing that. And I was like, yeah, we should, talk more. We got each other on Facebook. I started joining some Facebook groups. Come to find out, he was in that Facebook group, Triangle Comedy Connections or something like that. And he just posted about like a gig, or he posted something. I can't remember what it was. I just commented, and I was like, again, I don't remember I drank too much. What I said, and he messaged me, goes, hey, what are you doing Friday night? You want to come do a set for money? And I was like, yes, let's do that. And then ever since then, he's been getting me shows at like at Doja and Fuse Lounge and things like that. And then Ryan, the same group, messaged me. I thought it was a joke because I didn't know who the person was. He's like, hey, I'm on tour right now. Do you want to come like feature for me? And I was like, this is fake, but sure. Yeah. Hot women in your area, hot single ladies in your area. Yeah. So I was like, I definitely asked like taken questions. I was like, where'd you find me? How do you know about this? He's like, oh, I saw your stuff for Doja. And I was like, oh yeah, it's great. And so he's got me a couple shows. I did this thing at Pitch for his tour. The one that you came to, we sold out for Brews. I say we, but it was him and Blake.
Whatever his name
I definitely screwed that name up. Sorry, we're friends on Facebook. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names. If he ever sees this, I'm very sorry that I messed your name up. But he's also a super big comedian, so you probably know what I'm talking about. It's not the first. I've actually messed up plenty of introductions. I messed up this one lady so bad. She gave me her business card, and it was like, I want you to say the astounding and profound da-da-da. And I was like, I got this. Not going to mess that up. And I had a couple drinks that night and other stuff. And so I went on stage, and I was like, coming to stage now is the profanity, astounding. I was like, hold on. I took the card out. The profound. And I was like, oh my God. And I went to the back, and I was just like, oh, this is the worst. So don't ever, if I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. I don't remember names.
I just think it's a little interesting that she had to have so many titles.
I don't know, but did she crush that night? So I don't know. She killed that night. So I don't know. She was great. But I kept apologizing to her. She's like, if you apologize one more time, I'm gonna hit you. I was like, okay, well, still, because I'm still not like super big. Like I do shows and stuff, but I'm also like, if you're big and you're like, doing stuff, I want to be on your show, or I want to kind of connect with your network. And I can't do that if I'm screwing your entire intro up. So,
I mean, I know you say you're not big. I guess how do you determine levels like that? Like,
no one after a show has come up to me and said, "Hey, good job." So until that happens, that's how I know I'm big. No pictures yet. Although last show I did at Doja, there was a group of people there, and I was doing some crowd work, and they were like, "Oh, we were here the last time you were here," and I was like, "Oh, thanks," and they were like, "Yeah, you were the best one." Da, da, da. I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And after the show, they just left. I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, obviously you lied." But no, until that starts happening, that's how I'll know. Kind of like, until I can start taking pictures with children, then I'll know I made it big.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, in all fairness, my buddy took me to Raleigh Improv over there, and I can tell you what movies he's in, but we bought tickets and went watched him, and he was hilarious, and I can't remember his name. And he's like, "This is what he does."
Yeah, like this is my life. Yeah,
I just juggle at the end of his set, apparently in the dark with glow in the dark stuff.
Oh.
That was interesting.
Did he do it, or was it more like everyone close your eyes?
No, he
would juggle in the dark.
He did it.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
It was pretty crazy. He started off like he was just gonna fake us out or whatever, but then really went into it, and I was like, I wonder if that's just because he ran out of jokes. Because that's really
that's a good idea. I just go into crowd work. I used to have a joke that I told my friends, like, if I say this joke, that means I'm completely out of, like, I have no idea what else to say. So that's a good idea. I should change into juggling. I'm gonna do that.
I mean, personally, I don't.
I
don't want to go to a comedy show and end up in a circus. It's like that. I mean, it's cool that you can do that, but
yeah, it's not really that. But like, if you had glow in the dark stuff, that's not really that impressive because you could still just see it. So, I mean, unless I'm just,
I don't understand.
I also believe wrestling's real, so you probably shouldn't believe me about. You probably shouldn't listen to me when I talk about anything not being cool or not. So,
okay,
monster trucks are cool too.
I can agree with that. So you got into comedy, debut, just like, I'm going to sign up and go do it this Friday.
Yeah. Well, I guess, so technically, it's the first time I've ever done quote unquote comedy is when I was like 15 or 16, and our youth nights at church, they would let me go up and say a joke at the end of the night. So I guess that technically is my start.
Okay.
When I headline Madison Square Garden, that's what I'll say was my start.
What, I'll get tickets to that. What,
I'll comp.
What was your first joke? Do you remember?
I think it was like, I think I told the joke about the blondes and like, the it's natural type thing. You hear that one? All right, I'll give you guys one free. I'll give you guys one free. So the joke is, there's three girls. There's a redhead, a green-haired lady, and a brunette. And I said brunette and brown hair, and everyone started laughing. And I had no idea why they were laughing because I didn't know brunette and brown meant the same thing. I'm a guy. No, because I was 15 and I didn't know. I still don't know. And so the joke is, someone goes to the redhead girl, and they go, "Oh my God, I love your hair." And they go, "Oh, it's natural." Someone goes to the brunette hair girl, "I love your hair." "Oh, it's natural." Someone goes to the green hair girl, "I love your hair." She goes, "It's natural." So it's like a snot thing. That was like the first joke I think I ever told.
Yeah, that checks out. Stupid. You were 15. Yeah.
But at the time, crushed. At the time, it was like
15-year-old telling a bunch of 15-year-olds a joke.
Yeah. At the time, that was my stairway to heaven. Like, that was my thing.
Okay. So you had two brunettes and a green hair girl.
Yeah. I had no idea what people were laughing. I felt like such an idiot. They're like, "There's the same thing." And I was like, "Okay. Well, shut up."
That's the joke.
Yeah, that's the joke. I'm out of here. This is me. My stuff's definitely gotten more mature, I think. Well, less mature, but more mature. And then crowd work and stuff. I do a lot of that now.
Yeah. So
it's easier sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was about to ask because I know, like one of my favorites is Mitch Hedberg, and he says a joke about if I think something funny, I got to write it down. But if the pen's too far away, then I got to convince myself what I thought of ain't funny. Yeah. So that's what I picture other comedians doing. Like, oh, I thought of something funny, I write it down, and then you have his style, which is like one-liners, and then other people tell elaborate stories.
Yeah.
So where's your happy place?
I haven't really found my flow yet. I don't think I have one-liners. I have story jokes. I have crowd work. It really depends. Like, I can go in with a mindset of I'm going to tell this joke, blah 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 blah. But if I start doing crowd work and it's just like people are actually interacting and like having fun and stuff, it's like, well, screw that. I'm just going to do crowd work the entire time and say that later. a lot of my jokes are like just one-liner stuff to where I'll jump from like Santa Claus to like my dad leaving. So it kind of doesn't. There's no like rhyme or reason as to why I have no happy place.
You told it before and it worked, so we're gonna use it.
Exactly. That's it. That's actually what all stand-up comedians do. So like when they're like, "Oh, I'm going on tour," what that means is they're gonna say the same jokes but in different cities.
Yeah.
So
I picked up on that pretty quick when I started listening to like
yeah.
When you hear the same, not the same special, but it's like it was recorded here and there and there.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like I love comedy. I will put it on Pandora and just listen to it all day. But like going to see them, not that I go a lot. I just kind of make it a point to not, especially the big ones where you got to pay a lot of money for tickets.
Yeah.
Not trying to follow that guy and hear the same jokes again.
And that's what's cool about like comedies, because it is the same thing and it's so much different from other stuff like music. Like if you go to a concert and they're playing a song and you're like, this song kind of sucks, you can wait till the next one. If a comedian's telling a joke and it sucks, then it's like, well, now this all sucks. Like this is you're not gonna save yourself. Or like at concerts, you can do a cover, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, they did Sweater by Weezer."
Yeah.
And then if I do a joke by Dave Chappelle, they're like, "What the hell? That's a Dave Chappelle joke. You can't say that." So it's very like intricate with your stuff. Which sucks.
I've noticed too. One thing that I can kind of pick out, and I wouldn't say I hate it. Sometimes they still do pretty well, but what's the term I'm looking for? It's like a carbon copy of somebody else's joke.
Oh yeah.
You ever heard that before?
Yeah. Better not have too much of these. I'm driving tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And
that's a carbon copy of your dad's joke.
Yeah, it's just full of nothing. So, well, the problem with comedy is too, I think musicians have this problem, is it's very hard to not write a joke that's already been made.
Okay.
But if you make it your own and like you change words and you like, the punchline is not the exact same, but the send-off's kind of the same, then it's okay, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like based on what you just said, it's like, just investing your personality into it. Yeah. Because sometimes, and I can't think of a specific example, but I've heard a joke and I'm like, it sounds like they heard that joke. Yeah. And then wrote their own version of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's been times I've done that before, but like if you change it enough, like I've been to one show where the headliner literally like came out, opened with something I have heard a million times before, like from old people and Facebook and stuff, and it crushed. I'm like, you don't know that joke? Like that's old. You don't know that? And he was just like ripping off stuff, but he was killing. This is your mom's Facebook page. That's what he's doing. These are like jokes that would be written on top of a minion. Like this is, well, it works. I don't know. Some people can, like you said, it's your personality. You can like come out and go past it.
That's crazy. So I kind of understand how you get your gigs now, basically networking and working with other people. So when you get a set, like when you go up, is it like, do you have cues written down or do you just know in your head, or how do you determine what jokes you're going to use and how long your set's going to last and stuff like that?
I am the most unprepared person ever when I go on stage. A lot of people, so they tell you pretty much how much you need to fill in. Like, hey, I need you to do 10 minutes. You got to do 15, 30, blah, blah. For the most part, I'll be like, all right, I know what's going to work for this amount of time, so I'll do these jokes. But when I go up, I think of the first 3 jokes I'm going to tell. And then we're just kind of like, whoop, well, let's go on this ride and see what happens. Because it's either going to end really well or it's going to go like terribly wrong. So I need to do a better job of preparing myself. And actually, like, I don't even write jokes. For the most part, I don't even write jokes until maybe the day of or before. I don't rehearse them. I don't look over them. I'm not funny. So it's just very hard to like, it's not hard. I just go up there and do my thing. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, on to the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably should. If I was actually going on like to big clubs and like doing the same set over and over and over again, then I would be like, all right, I'm copying this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. But my gigs right now are kind of sporadic.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah.
So you keep saying you're not funny, but I feel like people wouldn't ask you to do stand up.
That's true. Well, I also bring a crowd with me. Like my sister comes, like all her friends. So I bring like a pretty decent sized crowd. So I think they're just like, we'll have him come back. Give him a couple, give him like 10 minutes. He's gonna bring like 20 people.
So you bring one person and she brings 19.
I mean, I'm friends with some of her friends. So
Okay.
I bring everybody. I bring a good amount of people. I make my money. So.
So you talked about crowd work. So it sounds like, I guess it sounds like that's kind of filler. So I'm familiar with it. I see it.
Yeah.
I've experienced it. I hear comedians talk about it. But how does that work? Like, how does that transition work? When do you decide to use it? And then what exactly is crowd work?
So it kind of just depends on how the set's going. Like if my jokes are hitting and like everyone's having a good time, I'll go into it. If everyone just hates it, I'll try and go into it too. It is kind of filler, but at the same time, if that's really working well, then I'm like, that's my whole set. Usually I just ask I'll start with a basic question. Like, what'd you guys do for dinner last night? What'd you guys have for Thanksgiving? Or, what's your name? Or something like that. Because what happens a lot of time is people want to be involved. They love to talk about themselves, which makes my job a million times easier. Because sometimes half the stuff they say is going to be funnier than what I was going to say. But then when people laugh about it, they think back to me. So they're like, that guy made him say he's a plumber and he da-da-da-da. And it's like, well, yeah, you're right. I did that. You would have never known. Like, I think the show you came to, I was just, I was hosting. So hosting gigs, I'm almost all crowd work.
Okay.
I'm probably the worst host ever. So I was just going to all crowd work, couple jokes. That guy's name was like Tyler or something. And I think is that your real name or is that your customer service name? And everyone was just laughing about it. I'm like, right, this is going perfect. And you kind of just build it off of someone's name. So crowd work's kind of just getting the crowd involved. It's like when people sing and they're like, oh, take the chorus, and they do that. Because then they don't have to do anything. They feel involved, and that concert was amazing. We all got to sing together. It's like, but you paid to see him sing. So crowd work to me is like, you paid to see me do comedy. Guess what, buddy? You're gonna laugh.
You're up.
Yeah, have at it. And sometimes people, what sucks is if you find someone that sucks, like just terrible conversations and stuff, it does make it really hard. And that time you got to be like, well, now I'm gonna have to be mean to you because you suck. So that's on you. Now you're gonna be mad at me. But if you find someone that's like funny, not too drunk, but still kind of can talk and stuff, that's always best because they're always going to keep conversating and going with you. If you find someone nervous and they say something, that's pretty funny too. But if you find someone, like the first time I started doing crowd work, I was asking this lady and all her answers were, wouldn't you like to know? And I was like, yeah, that's what's happening here. And so there's actually a picture I put up and it's so funny.
Like you're trying to steal her debit card information.
Yeah. Like, lady, I'm going to ask for your social security number. There's a picture I put up on my socials, and it's so funny. It's me laughing and her flipping me off. And this is like my Renaissance painting for comedy. Because I think I was like, what's your name anyway? I was like, is it Brittany, Stacy? She said, no. Wouldn't you like to know? I go, oh, it must be Karen. And the entire crowd lost it. She's like, you flipped me off. I don't know, they're dying laughing. And I was like, this is it. This is it. So yeah, if you're listening and you ever see me come to a show, you either play along or I'm gonna ruin your life.
That's a good moment to have a photo.
I'm glad I got a photo of it. Yeah, it's great.
So I was about to. So I guess you said your sister goes along, but are you always able to get content like pictures and video and stuff like that? Or
for the most part, if I'm hosting, I don't do it because I'm only up there for a few minutes. I don't want to waste my, I'm not going to clip together a bunch of stuff. Open mics, I try not to get stuff for because those can go either way. When I'm actually performing, though, yeah, I try and get at least pictures, video. I got some stuff on YouTube, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
pretty
thinking
cool.
about stuff for my podcast. So.
Yeah. So the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell my mom. I'm not sure if you started with that one because I feel like maybe a while ago you either had a different name but I know you've been on other podcasts as well. So
yeah.
So tell me, how did you decide to start a podcast? Like, what is the format or premise of it?
Great question. Everyone asks me that question, and I give them the same answer. There's none. So, nowadays in comedy, you have to do something else. You can't just do stand-up because you're going to get blown out of the water and you're not going to get gigs and things like that. So I started this a while back. It's been on and off. I've started some other podcasts that kind of fell to the wayside. There was like a wrestling one I did. There was another comedy one I did where we were trying to interview comedians, but like there's just weird bookings and things like that. So I think Don't Tell My Mom was the start of it. It might have had a different name before. I have no idea.
I don't remember.
I don't either. So premise wise, there's none. It's just a comedy podcast. We talk, we joke about, we'll bring up current events, we'll bring up something that happened, and we'll try to like make fun of it or anything. I listen to a lot of comedy. I listen to there's a radio show on Sirius XM called The Bonfire. It's Dan Soder and Big J Okerson, and like I'm trying to and then I also listen to Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, stuff like that. So I try to like not copy them, but like kind of do what they do, where they can talk about stuff and then joke about it, go off on tangents a lot. Like I think one of our biggest episodes, and I say this all the time, people get annoyed when I say this, but our biggest episode is we made a Donkey Kong rap, but for the KKK. Because, well, let me give the context before we go anywhere. We were looking up Donkey Kong characters.
That might be good.
Yeah.
that might be good.
Little Don't Tell My Mom context clues for you. So we were looking up characters for Donkey Kong, and there was one that was drawn that looked pretty racist. And the Donkey Kong rap is DK Donkey Kong. So we renamed it KK Ku Klux Klan, and then we changed the lyrics to things like, I'm not gonna say them, but there's nothing bad. There's no bad words in or anything. But like that was like one of our biggest episodes. People loved it.
I feel like the people who were interested to hear that were probably also fans of was it Bo Burnham? Does the Klan cookout?
I think so. Yeah. So I mean, and then like we went on a tear of like Fig Newtons for a while, and that was a different episode. It was like why, and we were just laughing, and I'm like, why are Fig Newtons so funny? But it also created 35 minutes of content and audio for us, so I don't give a shit. I don't give a crap. It's funny. I don't know if I cuss or not. So it's just there's no premise. We just sometimes we'll be serious. We did a whole episode just betting on football. It's just a whole football episode, and then the video of it is because we did it on Sunday. We were used to record on Sundays. We post on Tuesday, so we did the entire episode. Me and my buddy JD, and he has a podcast about recovery and things like that. It's called Progress Not Perfection. Free plug for you, buddy. We just literally went through and we were like, all right, so Cleveland Browns are -2.5. We're taking that with the under. And then like every now and then we throw a joke in or something. And then Tuesday when he did the video and you rewatch it, he puts in like giant X's and like every time we like got a bet wrong or something. And you can see all the money we lost. And it's dumb, but when you look back, it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah. People's dad might like it because it's sports. I don't know. Mine does like he's not around.
So back to I'm curious about I guess I'm curious about the crowd work, but
yeah,
obviously that only applies like when you're doing stand up. But basically my question is, I guess with the podcast, and we kind of talked about this before, you kind of know when you're finished.
They kind of die out, and you're like, all right, it's been 3 hours, so I think we're good.
So with the stand up, like when you're in front of a crowd, how do you know when you're finished? I mean, besides the fact that they tell you how long you're supposed to be up there for, how do you find the end, so to speak?
It kind of depends on. I mean, they give you your time, like they show you a light and stuff like that. 2 minutes left. That's what you need to do. But you got to figure out how to close it. Like you're like, well, my close can be strong, and then that's because people are gonna remember your opener and they're gonna remember your closer, and maybe they'll remember some jokes in between. So like, if you crushed it and your closer sucks, people are like, oh, yeah, he's not that funny. But if like you didn't do that great, your closer's amazing, and there you go. Like my last show I did, the guy that opened was making jokes about having kids, and he called his kids. Am I allowed to cuss with you? No.
I mean,
I will say it's fine.
I don't. I don't edit it. I don't censor.
Okay.
So it's.
I don't want you to lose any sponsors or anything. He calls his kids fuck trophies, and fuck trophies or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm up on stage, crowd working or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, do you have kids?" And I was like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, you don't have any fuck trophies?" And I said, "No, they don't give trophies to people that finish last." And then just like the entire crowd goes, I'm like, "All right, that's it, I'm done. Like I don't need a closer. I'm good with that."
Scene.
And whoop, we're out of here. I'm out of here. Catch me on Twitter. Yeah, so closers can be, that's where you really want your strongest opener and closer. That's where you want your good stuff to be. It's like foreplay.
No. That so they give you the light, so you have your opener, your closer. Yeah. That makes sense. I was thinking back while you were talking to I think we've been over there twice, but the first time we went to Raleigh Improv, it was just, I don't want to say nobody's.
Yeah.
We had to pay to go see them, but.
You still have to pay to see nobody's. People pay to see me all the time. So. It's usually
but I know you.
Yeah, but no one else
remember
does.
Your name.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'm just saying. Like,
Brian, I appreciate that a lot.
I've seen 3 comedians over there, possibly 4, and I can't remember any of them. Also, okay, I remember one guy's joke. Oh, and that's about it. But other than that, and that, actually, now that you mention it, it was his opener.
Ryan's?
No.
Oh.
The guy that we went to see at Raleigh Improv.
Oh yeah. See, you remember the openers, and you remember. I gotta shave my mustache. It's like getting all on my nose. Yeah. I was like, do cocaine over here. I'm like, that's awesome. No, it's like there's just so much mustache.
I think people would believe more some sort of COVID issue.
That's true. I have COVID.
In today's day and age.
And after this, we're gonna make out later. So. Brian also COVID.
We so
you did get
I've never made
this terrible for you. I've never held a podcast.
I've never interviewed a comedian before, so I guess I wasn't exactly prepared for the I'm not going to edit this episode.
And now, great. We're having a great conversation.
Set my whole show on fire.
Well, we did have sponsors for this podcast, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, I think I am. We are in a decent position in that because my other show is the Veteran Talk Show. Me and my co-host there are veterans. I'm a veteran. It seems like this past week, a lot of the guests I've had on this one have been veterans. Both of our sponsors are veterans as well. So
you said, let's shake this up.
I mean, I just feel like we're not going to have
an episode this week.
If we have any problems, it's probably going to be more audience related than anything. And I don't.
I have veterans in my family, so by association, I'm kidding. That was a joke. I'm not doing that. I'm not that person.
No. So I wanted to ask you something else, like your jokes.
Hilarious.
So outside of the 15-year-old you joke, what's like the worst joke you've ever told? Like you were like, this is gonna be awesome. You get up there and tell it, and after you tell it, you're like, I'm never telling that again.
There's some I've said down on stage that I've wrote out and tweeted and stuff. And I'm like, this is going to crush. Like, Twitter's going to blow up, and then nothing happens. I think the joke that I said on stage that has just died. I'm only trying to open mics, though. So you can't really gauge a joke on open mic because half the time people are there like, oh, you want to go see some comedy tonight for free? Like, they don't know they're coming to a comedy show. The joke I tell when I know I'm out of material, that I told my friends about and told you about, is it's a joke about how, like, it's so stupid. It was like a bathroom joke or something, and I was like, why do women want to go in the men's bathroom anyway? Like, you go in there like at a baseball game, and it's just a trough, and there's just ice in there. Everyone's in there making piss margaritas, and that's the reaction that people get, or I get, and then I'm like, okay, well, no, this isn't funny anymore. So that's the joke that I'm like, I'm sure in my life I'm gonna have a lot more, or I've forgotten some that I've said that don't get any reaction. The invisible dad joke there's two reactions that gets. It's either bursting out laughing or it's oh the entire crowd. So that's another one.
Yeah, the deep sympathy coming out.
Like, yeah. Once you get too dark, people are like, ooh, that's kind of personal. Like, I don't like that one. But that's some new material I've been working on, so I'm excited to try it out.
Okay.
The holiday season.
When is the Netflix special?
I think I'm working with Hulu right now. Me and Netflix are having a bad times. So no, I don't think I'm having any specials right now. So I'm gonna clean up my act before I can get all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like from like an album standpoint, at least, I think we're in a world where they can just be self-produced.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I think I'm gonna try and get at least like a good hour under my belt before I try and just produce like a. And some people, what they'll do is they'll a lot of times comedy clips do this too. So when you watch a special on Netflix or you watch a special on Comedy Central, that special isn't that same night. That special is from 4 nights, and they just chopped up which jokes got the most laughter, things like that. Yeah. So I've thought about doing that where I just have all my video, but then you got to wear the same outfit. So I have to wear the exact same outfit in the exact same club and do everything like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a special one. I might produce one when I get like a full good hour, have some real like audience under my podcast belt, so I can kind of promote it a little more, and then kind of like work toward. That's a goal right now. Self-producing podcast or special.
Yeah, that would kind of suck if you put something out and then nobody bought it.
Yeah, so that would that would be good.
Except me and your sister and her 19 friends.
Yeah. If I sold 22 copies or 21 copies, I wouldn't be able to do that about it. Ooh, busy day today. Busy day. Sell for $100. Yeah, but there's a lot of people now. Shane Gillis did one. Mark Norman did one. Ryan Cunningham actually self-produced his own podcast, or I keep saying podcast, his own special, which is pretty good. And so yeah, I mean that's the wave now. People are doing that because Netflix they're signing people, but if they don't sign you, then yeah, go to YouTube. Same thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you talked about getting like an hour's worth of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how are you going to do that? Is that like you mean get into an hour set? Like
yeah, work on my. I could. I don't want to say this, and then someone reach out to me like, "Oh, we need someone to do an hour." I'm like, "Great."
I got 15 minutes.
Yeah, I got a strong 5 minutes of comedy, 55 minutes of crowd work, which is there's people at Big J Okerson. He'll do entire sets. It's just crowd work. Like it's just like an hour's worth of crowd work. People love it. And then people do like hours worth of like Rodney Carrington, do hours worth of music, or Mitch Hedberg will do an hour's worth of just one line. It's just boom, 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 boom. So yeah, until I want to get a full hour of actually just full jokes, stories, and things like that. I can fill an hour with crowd work and stuff, but I want to get like one where I'm just like, this is good. I'm good at this.
Use joke works.
Joke make people laugh. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Woman in front row laughs, smile real big. Yes. That's the mindset I'm going in.
I didn't get flipped off.
If you flipped off, that's even better. Yeah. If you come to my show and you flip me off, I'm gonna get a picture of it. It's funny.
So what like are you trying to stay local with all of your gigs or
no, I'm open to traveling. I mean mostly I've done all North Carolina. I've only done North Carolina. When I was up in Tennessee doing the B3F podcast, we joked about doing an open mic and never went and did it. And that was gonna be my out of state, comedy show. Which there I would have said whatever. I'll never see you people again. I don't give a crap. But for now I've only been in North Carolina, which is the scene here kind of sucks. I love the places that have booked me. Please keep booking me. But it's not here in New York, where there's like a comedy club
every 4 feet.
Every 30 steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Walmart every 30 steps around here, so it's a little different. But there are a bunch of like breweries and stuff opening up now as comedy clubs. So that's pretty cool. But I definitely would travel. I'd go and do other stuff for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of places,
There's just not a lot of like the guy Rob Wright, who has been getting me some shows. Ryan Cunningham's been getting me some shows. Like they're great, and like they're doing their own thing. They're booking a bunch of people, which is awesome. But you don't have a lot of like big name producers down here. Like everyone's building themselves up. Like Rob Wright's been building himself up. Ryan's been building himself up, and it's not like, you know, someone just comes up to you and goes, "Hey man, that was a great set. I'm gonna get you booked on these next 30 bars and get you going." You know, it's more like I have to go do 57 open mics, and then hopefully someone sees me and thinks that I'm funny. And this is all on Tuesday. Now I gotta do it again Wednesday. Now I gotta do it on Thursday and things like that. So I think that's why it's not big here. The big places are like California, New York, Texas has become huge because of Joe Rogan. You know, but there are places around here. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
just getting out and about. So
yeah, it'd be fun to go somewhere else to do like jokes. Like someone go, "Hey, come to Virginia. We'll pay you to come tell jokes." Awesome. I'll do that. I'll make less money than I'll spend on gas, but that's fine. Let me come do it because I just want to do it.
That's
yeah.
I mean, it's good to do what you love.
Yeah, I've taken some gigs where I made less money than I drove to get there, or I've done gigs for free, like a full like set and stuff where it's free, and I'm just like, people are like, "Are you sure? Like it's not going to pay that much?" I'm like, I don't care. I just want to come out and do it. It's good to do it. It's my name out there.
Yeah,
people know who I am. And people are always like, "What are your rates?" No idea. Like I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, my rate is there a gig? I'll do it. Yeah, I'll be in an old folks home, you know, crowd working some 80-year-old women. I don't care. Like, yeah, I hate that question. What are your rates? What do you want to pay me? What do you pay? Because here's why I don't like that question. If I say a number, let's say you're paying $400, and I go, "Oh, I'm like only $200," then I just lost out another $200. Or if you're selling $50 paying gig, and I say, "Oh, I'm $200," but then they're like, "Oh, okay, never mind," and they go to someone else. So I'm like, I don't care. Pay me what you want to pay me. Let me come do comedy. I'll worry about rates when I get like a manager and like I'm actually, you know, doing my thing.
That reminds me of Hannibal Buress talking about how he went and did comedy at school, and then they wrote an article in a paper about him, and they published his rates. He was like, "They cornered me."
Yeah, that
by trying to force me to charge the same thing forever
then
after that.
And that's the thing too, because like you don't tell someone your rate and then go, "Oh, dude, you can get this guy to come do it. And he'll only do it for like $20 or something." And again, it's fine. I want the work. I don't care. So I'm getting content. You know, let's put my name out there. I'm advertising my podcast. I'm doing all this great stuff. And I also just don't feel. I feel like it's the same reason why when I build websites and stuff, I don't do them for friends. Or when I work a job with sales, I don't sell to friends. Because if something goes wrong, I don't want to be the one that's responsible for it. Like I don't want, you know, and I'm not going to charge you $500 to build your website for you that I would charge someone else. So like I don't know what I'm going to charge for comedy. If you want to pay me $1,000, I'll come do $1,000. I will work on jokes. If you pay me $1,000, I will sit down and write jokes. I'll call it to work the next day and sit down and actually try. But yeah, rates are. I don't talk about rates.
So you mentioned work, so you don't have to drop names or anything,
Yeah.
but that is in the radio industry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a correlation there because you have a podcast, you're a comedian, and then you
Yeah.
work in that industry.
Yeah.
So has there been any crossover there? Does it put you in a position where you can meet people, or is it really just a 9 to 5 so you can put food on the table?
It's actually it's kind of like a combination. Like I've done some on air stuff. I'm not afraid to get in front of a microphone, obviously. So if they ever need me to fill in for things like that, I don't mind. It's great networking. So I can meet people and they're like, "Oh, I do this. I'm like, great. I do this. So let's do this." I used to have a podcast. I'm trying to continue. I used to have the One Small Step, an Entrepreneur's Guide to Everything podcast. And that's actually what I sent in for my air checks. I didn't know what air checks were. So I sent them an entire podcast. Here's my air checks. Here's a 35-minute podcast. These are my air checks. I don't know what that is. So, it's definitely like a whole thing. Like other jobs are definitely treated as like I'm just doing this, make money, go home, get drunk, not worry about life. That's what I actually do enjoy. I enjoy all the people I work with. It's great networking. It's great to like figure out how things work and It's awesome to see how ads are paid for and spent and how much people pay for to be on air. Because then I can be like, good to know. You're doing a podcast? You want to pay on my podcast? And I'll read your ad reads and stuff for this much money.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. Great.
What do you do
for them?
Yeah, I mean,
I do all the promotions and stuff, like social media and things like that.
We might actually have to edit this part out.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hi. Hey.
So we call him Doug for short.
Mm.
And Brian, the guy I had on last episode, he was in the Army too.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it. And he was like, yeah, you know, when I hire somebody on and they're the nug. And I was like, I just started fucking laughing. And he was like, oh, did you guys use nug when you were in the Army as well? Like, did you guys have nugs? I was like, no, that's my dog's name.
That's my sister's cat's name. One of them.
So Nug is a new ugly guy.
That's funny.
I was like, no, we call them FNGs, but I like that one better now.
That's good. Nug sounds good. Yeah.
The new ugly guy.
That's funny. My sister's cat, one of her name. Well, she got two black cats. There's a bunch of cats, but two black cats are Danklin and Nugget. So yeah, I'm like, oh, this is the new ugly guy.
Huh? So we were talking about what you do there.
Oh yeah. Being the youngest one and the not ugliest one, I do all the social media content. I do like all the prizes for people. Like I keep track of stuff. I pretty much like all promotional stuff, which is great too because then I can use that for my own. This is what's worked for them. It'll work for me too because I'm an audio industry content creator type person. So once I actually build my entire what I want to do with my life and build my platform and have all these other podcasts and content creators under my belt, then it'll be good to be like, you know, I know how to do this for a large company, so I know how to do it for myself too. So I hope I can do it for a while. If you're listening to this, my boss, please leave. Wow. Please don't fire me. He has listened to a podcast before. I don't know if he listened to it or not, if he was messing with me, because I was in the middle of it and it was live. And he texted me and he goes, when does this get funny? And I was like, oh, I've said some bad things on this podcast. Like, this was a comedy podcast. This was an actual, like, full-on comedy podcast. So I'm making jokes about just everything because it's all jokes. And he texted me that. I was like, I texted him back. He's like, I need this job. I was like, look, dude. I was like, I need this job. So I don't know if he's messing with me or not. But no, all of them they're awesome. So
yeah.
If you're listening.
And you still work there.
I still work there. So he's like, well, sweep that one under the rug for now. So we'll see.
So do you like work in an office there or?
I do. I have my own full office area that people love to come by and talk to me when I'm not trying to talk to anybody. And I can't shut my door because there's no window. So there's a window in my office, but there's no window on the door. And I feel like if I shut my door, people would be like, is Hunter not at work? Because like it locks. Which no, people are like, oh, that sounds amazing. Why don't you do that? Like, because people talk to me a lot, so I can't shut the door. People just literally walk by. Hey, Hunter, we need this, and this done. And I'm like, well, I'm still trying to finish this. I'm like, okay, well, don't do that. Do this right now. Okay, I have 60 tickets I have to give away today for a show that was tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Let me try and see what I can do for you. Like, they'll text me like, I usually get off. I go in early every day, so I get off at 5, and I don't feel bad. And they'll be like 4:59, and they're like, "We need all of this done." And I go, "Sounds like a tomorrow problem. Sounds like a problem for tomorrow, Hunter."
So 60 tickets. So I'm not super interested in that because I want to bring it back to like you and
yeah.
So what's something big that you've learned? Like you started there, you're doing social media, you're doing promotional stuff, and then you're like, oh shit, I can do that right now.
The ad sales. That's what I've picked up. I know that. So I am friends with a lot of salespeople there. I'm actually not. They just tell me what to do for them and I do it. But I see all the stuff that we offer to these companies and what we'll do for them and how much they're willing to pay to be in front of God knows how many people because they're Nielsen people or whatever. And so I know based off of that, if I get X amount of downloads, I'm not in one state like this radio station is. I'm in the entire country plus the entire world. I've got downloads like from Africa and stuff. Shout out Africa. And so I'm like, well, if they're doing this many and I know I can get this many, then I'm going to upsell to this much. Like I could be selling like, 5-figure contracts to people knowing that they do this much for this amount of space. So I think like that's been cool to like know like, oh.
So you're seeing like a dollar amount in exchange for like a 30-second, 60-second, 120-second ad spot.
And that helps me out because then it's like, now I know to be like, I can find out rates for that.
Yeah.
That I can be like, I'll give you 30 spots over the course of 30 episodes. We'll fill you in the beginning, a live read, a recorded read, or whatever, and we'll do social media for X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Like they do. I'm like, holy crap! I made this much money off of this amount of time. It's insane. So I think that putting that into it's been pretty cool.
So have you done that yet? Well, I was.
I did. We have a sponsor, but we're not going to keep them. They're not sticking around after the last ad read we just did. It was bad.
So what did you do? Get like a serious sponsor on a comedy podcast, or?
Yeah, we got no. I'm not. No, we. Can I say it or does it matter?
I don't know. It's your podcast.
Okay, we got Manscaped as a sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Might have fudged some numbers when we reported to them how many listens we get. So they sent us this thing. They're like, hey, man, we always do this for everybody. Here's a code. Do us on your podcast. Like, put us a spot in your podcast. If you get 10 razors or whatever sold under this code, we'll get with you got a long-term contract. And I was like, awesome. 10 razors, not a problem. Huge problem. Sold 0 razors so far. I think this weekend is our last day. And our reads for them are just like, our live reads are so bad. Because we're a comedy podcast. So like we're talking about stuff. And it's Manscaped. Like there's, it's about, wieners. And so one of the live reads we did, I had a guest on. She's a local rapper. And my buddy JD on. And I'm doing it. It's over Skype. And I'm starting the ad read. And they're like, what? What are you saying? And I'm like, I'm doing the ad read. And then I finish it. And she goes, what was that for? And I was like, that was for Manscaped. I was like, our sponsor, we're like, doing stuff. And then she's like, oh, go back into it. She's like, go into the thing. I was like, I'm not going to go back into it. And so I think we turned like a 15-second ad read and like a 20-minute bit. Because it started out as like, JD, you like to shave your balls, right? No. Okay. Well, and I was like, Monse, you prefer, because I'm trying to make jokes out of it. I want to be more uncomfortable. Like, you prefer guys that are like, little, no, not really. Awesome. So here we go. Anyway, so Manscaped has this great new But if you do go to Manscaped, you just code TTMN.
I feel like that wouldn't
buy 10 razors.
We'll put it in the show notes. I'll put it in the show notes. So I don't know if that's like attracts like, law of attraction.
Yeah.
I don't use razors.
Yeah.
Most of the people I know don't use razors.
I use them.
So I'm just saying I'll put the code and everything. I mean, of course, we're gonna have links to your website and all that fun stuff down there. And then normally when we talk about books, so people can tell. I've never said this before, but we use affiliate links for all the books. Because I use my Amazon associate account, so that microphone, those coasters, pretty much anything you can get online, I link it in the show notes. So if people want it or they want to use it or whatever, and then obviously we get, half a penny per click or whatever it is,
whatever works.
And then of course the coffee and the website. So we'll put it in the show notes. Just
well, they advertise it well, I didn't advertise it that way, but on TV, they advertise it for your balls.
Yeah.
So you don't have to shave your face, but you show the boys. And help a brother out.
I mean, based off of the analytics, I think 85% of the audience right now is male.
Yeah, so even if just whatever 10 of 85 goes out and uses the code DTMM at manscaped.com, 20% off, free worldwide shipping, and helps your boy out. No.
So what's your plan? So this one's coming to an end. So what's your plan?
Yeah, it is. Well, great question.
So I'll give you an example. Like on the Veteran Talk Show in Business and Brews, I've got a one-pager written up that is like our ideal sponsor is a small veteran-owned business who's looking for long-term and sells products and or services, preferably services to businesses. Because as much as there are individuals who listen to the Veteran Talk Show, it's kind of hard to tell with the analytics because it doesn't say this, but I feel like based off of the guests that I have on both shows and the audience, that most of them are business owners, and probably the majority of them support veterans. So that would be our ideal sponsor, because then also I can do stuff like, hey, sponsor one show and get. And now with our content coming out, I'm putting something out on Business and Brews show. I've got the Morning Brews, so 6 days a week. So I mean, you're going from this high price tag for a single episode down to your per episode rate decreases significantly, and instead of 24 episodes a month for one price, you pay the same price or maybe buy one, get half off for 48 episodes. So that's why I would want that type of sponsor, because veteran-owned small business that sells services to other small businesses, I know because one of the first sponsors we had, it was a product and it was more for consumers. So it didn't really work out. Yeah. So what would line up? Like, who would be your ideal sponsor for a comedy podcast?
I don't really think right now we have, I can't think of an actual ideal person. We just want, really what I'm trying to do with my entire goal set is I'm starting out with this podcast. I have a couple other podcasts I've done, but like I said, I kind of fell to the wayside because this was my main focus, because I love comedy. I love just talking and, shoot the shit. And so we're building out this platform where it's like, okay, everyone's going on this. And then I want to bring in other content creators, like people that may have just started out, people that are trying to build themselves up, kind of have them on their podcast and stuff. Like Call Her Daddy is owned by Barstool Sports, and Call Her Daddy is a huge podcast. It's just girls talking about gross stuff like vaginas, and so I kind of want to do that same thing. But then what I would do is I would sell their sponsorships, produce their shows for them, kind of like a radio station does. One media group owns it, so it'd be owned under Elf Ear Media. And then it would go down and hey, you have this sponsor, you make sure you do these reads, and then pay them based off that and things like that. So I don't really have an ideal sponsor right now, because I'm so looking forward to having a plethora of areas for them to go to. And it's for some reason, let's say I reach out to Betty's Plumbing or whatever. Hey, this is how we're doing in North Carolina, This is our comedy podcast. And they're oh, I don't like that. You're too raunchy. No problem. Guess what? I have a business podcast, or I have a wrestling podcast, or I have this sports podcast, or I have this girl group podcast, or a bachelor podcast, or whatever. I can put you on here. It's going to be less. It's going to, cost less now because it's not as big as this, or it's going to cost more because they blew up somehow. So that way people have options instead of just going hey, we're really raunchy. It's probably going to get dark. It's going to get really bad. Depending who the guest is on, it's going to be terrible. Let's sell your homemade goods. No, right now we're trying to just build it up to the point where we're just I've reached out to Quip. I've reached out to Helix Mattresses. I've reached out to Manscaped. And so a lot of it now is just waiting for returns and things like that. So there's no real, I know it's probably not necessarily looking for it, but right now there's no real ideal customer. Once I get these full platform built up, then it doesn't matter. You can just be like, like I said, you're, let's say a veteran-owned business wants to do it. Great. Well, I have this podcast hosted by, blah, blah, blah. This is what they do. Would you like to be on theirs? Yeah, I'll do it on theirs. So.
Yeah. I was just curious because, like I said, if I got, I was about to use beer, but that's a bad example because that would be a really good sponsor.
If I could find a local brewery or just anything like that wants to,
I have
pretty
three
cheap for free beer.
Yeah,
pretty cheap for some free beer.
It's a little embarrassing because I have three that have reached out, or one of them I need to reschedule something. It's just I work down at Fuquay right now, and so that's a kind of a long commute.
There's a couple breweries down there you can reach out to too.
Oh,
or are you trying to focus on this one?
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I just kind of feel bad because we had this whole thing scheduled, and then I couldn't make it.
Gotcha.
I don't like setting something up and then not being able to pull it off. But, I feel like coming into the end of the year, now I've got a team down there that's kind of trained up. So
that's my problem right now. I'm bringing in a team. Let me cut you off though. What were you saying about your brewery?
Just need to schedule the appointment and show up. You know,
just gotta actually do it. I don't know.
Just gotta do the thing. I mean, I'm not as much like the one that I was talking about, and I can't remember the name of it, but I got the guy's contact info. I want to go talk to him because we were discussing possibly having an episode there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, am I going to do business and brews or the veteran talk show or both? Stuff like that. So, I mean, I think that would be a cool background. That all comes back to what I talked about with like the portability of my setup as well. Like if I can grab that tripod and roll, that would be awesome. Forever. That'd be so awesome.
My setup is I have to be there. I have to it's just right here.
Yeah.
I have the full arm extensions, and I have like a converter and my laptop. I'm trying to like get a flag or something, or like have my TV set up behind us with the logo, so we pull up YouTube videos and do it together and stuff like that. My problem right now is I'm building a team, but it's really hard to build a team when there's no motivation for the team as of right now. But it's one of those things that once it starts building, it can be like, this is this and this. I've got people to do audio for me. Trying to bring out a producer. We get off task a lot and just talk about whatever. Sales team, things like that. So that's my thing right now. I'm working on is building that up while building my podcast, while also building a team.
You do a lot
while also working a full-time job. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Until
they Portnoy eat your heart out.
So like, is that your, like, what do next steps look like? So I kind of have a vision for where you want to get to with the whole thing, basically be a platform. I actually got a couple people I should introduce you to. Because I wouldn't go as far as say they're doing something similar, but they, might be able to either point you in the right direction, or help each other out. But what do you see like in the short term as being next steps, kind of building in the right direction?
Right now, just building an audience through my podcast.
Yeah.
Bringing on like an actual producer that can have be like, hey, this is what you need to do. Like, this is what you're talking about. Do my social stuff for me. Like I do all that myself, but it's very, as very stressful. So kind of those are my next steps. Is just kind of still building my audience, using my stand up to help that, like self promotion, and then bringing on like a producer. I sort of have a guest host already, but and there's also someone that my producer did this. I'm terrible at keeping track of when I have to do podcasts. I missed 2 this last weekend because I forgot I had to do them.
So you mean like actually doing the recording?
Yeah. So I have with my job, I have full Google Calendar. Every single day, there's like 100 things. So I have to like have someone to be like, hey, I know you forgot this. In 20 minutes, you need to do a podcast. So that way, when I'm in bed in my underwear drinking, watching TV, I can be like, okay, cool. I'll probably should get up and get dressed because they're coming over to do a podcast. Instead of going, oh, shit. And then them emailing. I had someone be like, okay, I'm ready whenever you are. And I had to go, we'll probably have to reschedule this podcast. I had something come up. So just someone to be there, kind of have like that little bit of accountability because like I said, I have so many other things going on between writing jokes, getting gigs. You know, when I come home at midnight from a gig, my next thought isn't, I got to do a podcast tomorrow at 10 a.m. My next thought is, I'm going to bed. Like, I want to sleep and then not wake up tomorrow for a while. So those are my next steps. Those are my next, and then building our Patreon too. It's kind of sucking. Yeah.
It's hard work. It's hard work.
It is. It's very stressful.
I mean, that's one reason.
Merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have so we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go into what we call the 4 questions we've had brewing. So number 1, and you probably already talked about this a little bit, but when you're not this is a little weird to ask you. When you're not telling jokes, what do you like to do for fun?
Legally, I like to. I mean, I go out. I try to like de-stress. I'll go to bars. I like doing dumb stuff. Like I watch a lot of sports, like football and stuff. I'll bet on sports. I like to play video games when I can, and then just kind of hang out. Beer pong champion 2 years in a row at my sister's Halloween party. No big deal. Back-to-back world champions actually on that bad boy with two different partners. So yeah, it is kind of weird thing to ask me because it's like, what do I have to do for fun? I don't have fun. I just kind of stress. And then the most fun is when I'm in the shower, sitting down, and the water's hitting me. No, and then like there's certain show like the things I do like to do for fun. There's certain radio stations I listen to for fun, like the Bonfire. I like to spend my time, like watching like Curb Your Enthusiasm or like Sunny Philadelphia or something, just some downtime.
That's like the longest running show.
Sunny Philadelphia.
Yeah.
There's a new season coming out.
Yeah.
It's perfect. They have a podcast out. I'm not gonna plug it though because they won't plug ours.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Their show, but not the podcast.
Yeah, I do the show. The show. I like the show.
The show.
The podcast. We're trying to compete with them, so I'm not gonna plug them. Their podcast is called Don't Tell My Mom, so go check that out. And also use their code DTMM. No, and then I like doing podcasts. I've been a guest on a bunch of podcasts. It's just fun. And doing my own podcast is fun. I guess this would be considered working is fun. When I'm working on my own stuff, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I like doing this.
Makes me no money, but it's fun.
I feel like I've been on a handful of other podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites, and now, fortunately or unfortunately, probably the most recent one was Dan Warheide, is a Army veteran who does the Pro Growth podcast, and he had me on basically finding meaningful work after the Army, but it was pretty cool. It was a good time. I've never actually met him in person. I actually have a lot of connections like that, just kind of in the veteran space. You meet people and you don't meet in person for a while, but it was a good time. And I mean, kind of like you, I like doing this. I like talking to people. I like talking to people in different industries. Yeah. When we do the veteran talk show, like I don't know how, but we talk for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a pseudo therapy for us. So kind of works out. And
it's just fun. You feel like when you're a guest on someone's podcast, you feel like a celebrity. You're like, you guys want me? All right, I guess I'll come on.
I'll clear my schedule.
Was it Tuesday night? I guess I can come over for a little bit, do a podcast with you. Yeah, it's like doing it because it's fun. I like to joke around, like to, I haven't really been on my serious podcast. The business one was okay, but I was just like, this isn't me. Like, I can't joke. I can't do what I want to, say what I want to say. Like my buddy JD, he's got his Progress Not Perfection, which is all about like, getting out of like struggles with addiction and things like that. I'm like, God, that's heavy. You don't want me to be on there because someone's gonna say something. I'm gonna be like, what? And so like that's what's terrible about it. Because I'm like, I want to be this great business owner, but at the same time, I'm also like, I laugh at fart jokes, so this is gonna be hard to do. Yeah, it's just fun. I like doing this. I like to talk, and to me, it's like this might as well be a gig. I'm getting exposure. I'm getting so
yeah, show up and talk. So number 2,
yeah,
it can be book or some sort of other content, video, YouTube, motivational speaker. What content are you consuming?
I'm actually reading Way of the Wolf right now, which is kind of a Chad answer, but I never really saw the movie. I saw a little bit of the movie. I finished it, but the book's actually pretty good. The guy really sucks his own dick though, but it's cool. He's a millionaire, so he can do that.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Way of the Wolf, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so you're talking about, what's that guy's name? Jordan Belfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all about like sales and things like that, and like how to I keep like a middle school girl. I have a goal journal, like a 100-day goal thing. So I do that. I listen a little bit to Gary Vaynerchuk. Kind of faded off on that because he's really going to NFTs. I think NFTs are stupid. And then every now and then, when I used to do this thing. I listen to Tony Robbins, and he always does like a cold plunge every day. And he does it because it's to not negotiate with yourself. So it's a way to like, he's like, I don't want to get in this cold, freezing water, but he just jumps in. It's a way to negotiate with yourself. So when I take a shower now, I'll listen to like music, or I'll listen to like a motivational thing. And then what I'll do before I get out, I turn the water like freezing cold, and I'll stand there for like a minute or so, just to kind of be like, all right, we're not going to negotiate with ourselves. We're going to like, I don't want to work today. I want to go lay down. We're not laying down. We're going to, do what we got to do.
So like mentally that works.
Yeah, it's supposed to. I mean, I feel like an idiot doing it, but he said, I mean,
because I've done it before. I've done that. The main time where I've had like literally an ice cold bath.
Yeah.
Was after my first marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good to do that after running any extremely long distance, but 26.2 miles, and anything over that is like you're literally beating the crap out of your body.
Yeah.
And so barely being able to walk, and we had just made ice and kept storing it. So when I got done, there was this really big tub. We filled it with cold water and then dumped the ice in there. And I got in, and I feel like I blacked out for like an hour. But I just can't imagine doing that, especially like in the morning. But I'm all for like the mentality behind it.
I have a very hard time like finding motivation for stuff. I get really motivated and I want to do something. I want to do something, and then at the same time I'm also like, all I want to do right now is just lay down. Like I have this weird.
I want to do it. I'm tired.
Yeah, I want to do it, but then I'm also like, what's the point of doing this? It's just gonna like fall the wayside, or there's like listeners or anything, or I'm just like I'm exhausted. I want to watch TV instead. So I am trying to like do everything I can to like stay focused and like don't go lay down. Sit at your desk, work on this, go to the gym in the morning, whatever it takes. So it's like that somehow helps me mentally not to negotiate myself. Like, oh, it's the shower was good, it's hot, we get out. Like, turn it into freezing cold water, stand here for a minute. I don't know. Stupid.
Don't get back in bed.
Millionaires are weird, so I don't know.
That's why I was curious, because I'm like, hey, if it works, it works,
Yeah, I mean, I did it for a while, and then I kind of stopped because I'm moving and stuff, and then so hopefully I'm gonna get back into it, like get back in like the gym like 4:30 in the morning was another thing I was doing. To be like, now I can't have an excuse not to go. If I go at 4:30 in the morning, I can't get home from work and go, oh, I'm too tired to go. And the gym I go to is 24 hours. So now it's like, well, now I definitely don't have an excuse not to go.
Yeah.
Because what am I going to do? Oh, they're closed. No, they're not. They're open.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out like all these different ways I can like just get some kind of motivation to actually get up and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Very
That's
simple.
cool. So third question.
Yeah.
And sometimes it catches people off guard, but I'm definitely interested. If you could have a beer with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
That's a great question. Because I feel like I have like a million people I'd rather get a beer with.
I mean, we have time if you want to go ahead and list them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why not? I would say a couple of people. I would say Elon Musk, obviously. That's to be a giveaway. People that like I'm fans of, like I'd go get a beer like Patrick Mahomes, just got his quarterback. He's like a cool guy. He's got a bunch of money, so maybe he'll be boy up with some season tickets. You know, I'm gonna butcher his name because I'm terrible names. The guy that owns Nutrition Solutions, his name is Chris Cavani. Benny.
Sure.
Yeah, he is like a dude who like went through a bunch of stuff, like got arrested, like all this crazy stuff. And now he's like a multimillionaire, and like he actually shows like one thing. I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry. One thing I can't stand, and I talk about this in my business podcast, is millionaires or like really successful people being like, "You're gonna go through the struggles of life, and you're gonna like, okay, what were your struggles?" Well, you know, my dad didn't like. Okay, like shut up. Like I can't. Like you're not like a real. Like you're trying to be a real person, but you're not a real person. Like, real people wake up depressed and are like, I got to go work 9 to 5, then come home and try to work on my own thing. Like I know The Rock went through stuff, but like really, your dad was a professional. Like this guy, like I get it, but also shut up. But like this guy, literally, like he's like, yeah, like this was me, like. He's like, I rented a Lamborghini and was paying more than I made for it every month because I'm an idiot. Like back in the day, he's like, then he posts pictures like this was me when I got arrested for drug use. This is when like this, and now he's like taking pictures of the Bahamas, like working on an iPad. He's like, oh, this is work for my office today, and it's just like, that's like what you want to see when you like, talk about like, okay, you actually went through the struggle. Like that's a real thing. People are like, oh, why? I woke up every day at 4 a.m. I went, like, that's not a struggle, dude. You did that yourself.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously.
Wine.
Yeah, I'd wine. Yeah, I'd have to do wine with him.
Yeah.
I'll let him pick it out too.
You're the first person I've had on who has said Gary Vee besides me.
Yeah, he's very. I also just want his energy. He's just so energetic. If I could have his energy, I would be happy. He's just all over the place.
And then people ask him, and he's like, "Life, man."
I also hate that too. Life gets me. Shut up. My life's like I know.
Come on, man.
Yeah, if I had $1 million in the bank, I'd be pretty happy to wake up every morning too. Dave Portnoy, just to see how he's like, he is comeuppance and things like that. Comedians would be like Big J. Ogerson, Norm Macdonald, Shane Gillis. Just like to shoot crap. Wish if he was still alive, Norm Macdonald. God dang it. Yeah.
The question was dead or alive, so.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I said Norm Macdonald. Who else? I said, yeah. Brains all over the place. Yeah, he would have been great. Just do some weekend updates with him. Chris Farley. Yeah, actually, I don't know if I want to get a drink with him though, because that might turn into a bunch of drinks. I like if you drink with Ric Flair, one beer turns into like 500. People all the time like, what's the question? Would you rather have like $500,000 or lunch with Jay-Z? People are like $500,000. People are like, oh, I want to eat lunch with Jay-Z so I can pick his brain. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to become a famous rapper and build $1 billion industry.
I feel like with $500,000, I could probably. I know Jay-Z has more than that.
He's a billionaire, I think.
But I feel like I could be like, hey man, let me give you 5 or 10 grand.
Invest this. Yeah.
And let me eat lunch with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like 10 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand.
Well, because people are like, well, the knowledge you get from him is more like, yeah, it is, but are you going to apply it? Like, if Jay-Z goes, oh, you need to wake up every day at this time and do this, and do yoga, and do it. Are you going to do that? No, you're going to go, oh my God, guess what? I had lunch with Jay-Z. Like, lot of people like, oh, bro, I would
Then you
like
could have had $480,000.
yeah,
And lunch
and
with
lunch with
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z and a Lamborghini, so people.
No, that's fair though, because I feel like that is missed a lot. I had a friend over, and other people talk a lot. They say, all those books on that shelf are great, but
you don't apply it.
are you doing anything? And that's one thing. I have Audible and I listen to them, and I struggle. I actually just started something because of my conversation with Brian yesterday, or on the last episode, depending on when you're listening to this. And he was talking about taking notes and how to do it when you read a book, and how to stay disciplined and incorporate reading into your schedule. So I started that this morning to work closer towards that practical application of the things that I learned.
Yeah.
And it's true. A lot of people would have lunch with Jay-Z, and then, that would be their bumper sticker.
Yeah, me and Jay-Z shared a steak. Yeah. And like you could have, but like the same thing, you could have lunch with someone that works local to you, that is a millionaire, that you wouldn't even know is a millionaire, that you get a lot more. And like my sister's dad's like a multi-millionaire, like legit, like probably gonna buy a plane and shit soon. And you could probably get more from him than you would get from Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z would just be like, "Oh, believe in yourself," and he would be like, "Oh, you're gonna go out there and bust your ass. Like you need to go out there and like eat shit, for a while." And so it's just people they don't apply themselves. So when I guess that question is good. Who'd you have a beer with? Well, or $500,000. I can buy a lot of beer for $500,000.
Maybe we'll change it. So we talked about this a little already, but you can go into more detail or drop more here if you want. But if someone wants to get in touch with you, they want you to come do comedy, they want to come see your comedy, or they want to get into stand-up comedy, where can people find you?
On Twitter, I think I'm Hunter Luke E. I lost my old account, which was on Jimmy Fallon, by the way, or Jimmy Kimmel, whatever the Celebrities Read Mean Tweets was. Had a cool name, but it was great. But it should be Hunter Luke E. It's me doing stand-up, so that's probably what it is. Don't Tell My Mom podcast on Instagram, DTMM podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Don't Tell My Mom podcast. Literally everywhere you get podcasts, Don't Tell My Mom podcast. Hunter Edwards Comedy should be my stand-up on YouTube. And you can email me at hunteredwardscomedy@gmail.com. In that way, I get more than just like free Netflix account stuff for there. If you ever want to get bookings, or if you want to ask about stand-up, I guess I can try to help. I'll create jokes. It will be good.
Yeah.
Well, hope your dad left you when you were young, because that's all the material I have. So if you got a happy parent marriage, can't help you out.
I have absolutely no idea what this is. I think I'm just going to put a huge disclaimer at the beginning of this episode.
That's fine.
Yeah, just like one blanket thing. Like, hey, if you were watching this for business, I'm sure.
Sorry.
It's in here somewhere.
2:59. Yeah.
But you guys know the drill. Coffee and websites in the show notes, as well as you heard the whole spiel before we got started. Links to all of Hunter's stuff in the show notes as well. Be sure to reach out to him, and we'll see you on the next episode.
This has been the Business and Brews Show, hosted by yours truly, Ryan Smeltz. Edited and produced by Ryan